What's good, DMV and across the nation? Welcome to the Commissioner's Corner of the DMV Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Don Aduba, and on today's show, we'll talk about the experiences commissioning one of the most innovative fantasy football league setups in the industry. Thank you all for joining the show. Please check out the Substack at DMV Commission on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Yes, and all right. So on today's show, we have a guest coming on from the Great Northwest. His name is known as Cam, known as Big Sweezy, league administrator of one of the NCAA NFL crossover Dynasty League on the Sleeper app. Welcome to the show, Cam. How are you doing today?
Good, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Of course. So, I didn't mention to you this earlier, but I was in a summer internship program in college after my first year, and it was with students all over the country, essentially. And there was one student from Idaho, and his name, I'll just say his name is Mark. And, I'm from Missouri, and Mark was a really, really cool guy. And we all, as interns, did a bunch of stuff together. And crazy enough, they had this superlatives thing at the end of the internship, and they asked who was the person that most represented the Midwest. And everybody said Mark. And I'm like, I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. That is as Midwest as it gets. And so my first question to you to start off the show is, has anyone from your time traveling, even where you're at currently, has anyone ever told you, hey, Idaho is such a cool state in the Midwest. Are you from there? Has anyone ever asked you that kind of question? Or
I have never gotten that. And I've been to a few Midwest cities and have never felt like I have been connected to the Midwest at all. So that is surprising. But I mean, I know that Midwesterners, they're known for being, hospitable and nice, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, I've been told.
I feel like that's most people in Idaho, so it probably fits.
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of a overlooked state, if no disrespect. I mean, I get it all the time living in the East Coast and I guess the coastal elites to some degree. And so anytime I ask people I tell people I'm from Kansas City, they tell me, oh, yeah, you're from Kansas? I'm like, no. Kansas City's there's Kansas City's split into two states, but the primary city or the biggest city is on the Missouri side. I mean, there is one in Kansas, but they're in a whole nother state, obviously, whole nother county, and it's a lot smaller. But funny enough, the Chiefs are actually moving there in about 2031 once the Arrowhead lease ends. So I guess the NFL will know the Chiefs as being in Kansas.
And I'm a Broncos fan, so hopefully I'll be able to make it out to one of those games.
Oh man, you guys really gave us fits last season. I gotta admit.
I mean, it took a long time to get to the point where we could even compete with you guys, but
that is true.
but we're there now.
Oh man, like you guys were just finding ways to win games with that defense, and Nick Benito was giving our offensive tackles all kinds of nightmares. And the first game I think Mahomes is out, the first game Mahomes is there, and I think we lost a tight one if I'm not mistaken. And then the second one, I think it was like a Thursday night game or something, or like around Christmas, and we had our third stringer in there, and I think
they're always low scoring games. I mean, you get one touchdown, you're probably gonna win that game.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see how things shake out in this in the NFL season that's coming up. I know I definitely have a lot of respect for the Broncos. I mean, I go way back to the John Elway days, and just as I guess Mahomes gave you guys fits, Elway gave the Chiefs that work in the 90s, especially. And I think the most memorable one was in the playoffs. I think we went 13-3. Elway came to Arrowhead, and we got knocked out in the divisional round. So I don't have a whole lot of love for the Broncos, but hey, I respect you enough to come on the show, and I appreciate you coming on the show. So.
Yeah. Well, and I don't love the Chiefs at all, but I do respect your guys' coach. I mean, he's a BYU guy, and I'm a BYU guy, so
Yeah, that's so
All
true.
love Andy Reid.
Oh yeah, yeah. Andy loves his BYU guy. So we had a safety. Maybe you might even know him.
Daniel Sorensen.
Yes, yeah, exactly. They
Yep.
called him Dirty Dan in Kansas City,
Dirty
and
Dan. That's right.
he was he was one of those guys that he played really hard. He was really good on special teams. He was super clutch in the early part of our dynasty, and yeah, I definitely appreciate him a lot. And we actually drafted a guy 2-3 years ago, Kingsley
Yeah.
Sumatamaia.
Sumataya. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I know he was like a big athletic freak out of BYU. Like he could jump out the pool and was a
Yeah.
big guy, maul people.
Yeah. We pump out those linemen at BYU.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he's doing his thing at left guard now, and I think oddly and funny enough, the reason he switched from left tackle where we had him originally starting to left guard was because your guy Nick Benito completely abused him his
Oh
rookie
yeah.
year.
That's right.
Abused him. I think gave him like 2-3 sacks in the first half, and we had to. I think the Chiefs had to pull him out the game.
Yeah,
because of
that's
the
right. He's young. He's young. He'll get there.
yeah no yeah Kingsley he did amazing last year at left guard, and I think we might have found a position where he can be an all pro. So yeah, Andy loves those BYU guys. I'm sure there's a few other Chiefs that went to BYU that's on our roster. It's not ringing a bell right now, but
I'm not sure there's anyone else right now,
but
through the
hey,
years.
yeah, y'all got a good team. Y'all got a good team at BYU, and so it kind of segues right into the topic of the show, and it's just this NCAA NFL crossover fantasy league, and so I think a lot of listeners would like to learn about, especially me, when I first joined the league, I didn't even know this type of league existed. So yeah, tell me about how this league started, and just give me what the motivation was to start the league and how it was conceived, and especially with how big it is. Just run me through
Yeah.
the timeline of all that.
So I think it was kind of born out of some unique circumstances. It actually started, if we go all the way back, it started with the NCAA NBA crossover league, which was started in right around COVID. Essentially, the world got shut down. Everyone was online. I think one of the guys in our league who started the league just had this idea. He's like, let's get it going. Seemed like everyone was online at that point. He put out a post, and people loved the idea. He put together this big old group me, and everyone was just joining this group me, picking teams. And I think we got literally 168 owners from the very first year in that league.
Wow.
Which was 14 conferences, 12 teams each. Each league had their own sleeper league, and I think sleeper was pretty new at the time as well. And so that was really successful. I mean, I'm still running that league, and we're going into its 7th year now. Just a year or two after that league got started is when we were like, we should really do an NFL version of this. And the guy that was running the basketball, he was working for his school doing athletic media marketing at some college. So he was insanely busy during the season. So me and TK, who hopefully you'll talk to in the future, he's really the overall commissioner of this league, this NFL league. He, got the thing started. I think we started with only 4 conferences at the beginning. Maybe it was only 3 conferences at the beginning.
Okay.
And he slowly built that up until 6 conferences. So 6 conferences with 12 teams each, known as like the P6. I think we had, since there's only 12 teams in each league, we had all the main ones at ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12. And then we had a 6th one that we just called the 6 to kind of grab all the leftovers. And so it's been those 6 conferences for the past couple of years, and then just this off season where we've expanded it to include some G6 conferences.
Okay, I see. So I've noticed in some of your group of six or power six conferences, it could be a bit of a mismatch. So what were the challenges in putting that all together, especially with the expanding with the conference realignment climate going on in college sports?
Yeah, with the realignment, it makes it tough. Like if you look at our basketball league, it is so much different than what the landscape is today.
Absolutely.
For football, it's a little closer, but basically we put together lists of here's all the teams in the conferences as they are today. The first 12 that are picked, then we'll throw that in. So the first 12 SEC teams that are picked, we'll throw that in the SEC. We'll take the other 4 or 6 and we'll throw them in this leftover, the 6 conference. And
Gotcha.
that's kind of how we did it. And then we can't really do realignment because each league is their own sleeper league, and we like to keep our history books as clean as possible. So
That makes sense.
Stuck the way it is.
Yeah. Hey, that's all. Yeah. I mean, I think the fact that you all conceived like a crossover league, it just never would have been a thought in my mind. And I've been a commissioner for over 20 years. And it's funny because I first found out about your league, I think through Reddit. Yeah, it was through Reddit. I think TK I think he had posted something on there looking for people. I think in the Find a League subreddit, looking for people. And I think at the time I was just starting out this podcast and trying to come up with content and cool ideas that I think would be helpful to discuss on the show. And I think if I'm going to be a host of this show and be an expert in commissioning, I need to join a league that I haven't, and with the format that I haven't been exposed to. So when I saw TK make that call or a call out, I was like, oh shoot, I gotta get in on this. And so, one thing led to another where I messaged him and he hit me back, and here I am today. And like I said, it's pretty cool experience. And so you talked about the challenges of trying to keep everything aligned despite the transitions that the conferences are going to. So just walk me through the logistical headache and also the triumphs, like the positive aspects of setting up this league on Sleeper. And then did you ever consider any other platforms like Fantrax or MFL or even Yahoo?
I don't know if we ever actually did consider any other apps. I don't know about you, but I feel like Sleeper is kind of making its way up to the top of being the top dog of the fantasy football apps.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, because our basketball league started on Sleeper, a lot of our owners for the football league came from the basketball league, and so it was easier to just keep it going on Sleeper. The other thing I really like about Sleeper is their app. So I'm in every single conference that we have. So just to be able to see everything, and so to have that panel slide over and you can see every single conference, you can see the chats that go on, you can see the trades that go on to make sure that there's no collusion going on.
Absolutely.
The Sleeper definitely made it the most functional to be able to work in. And the other great thing about Sleeper is, I don't know how technical of a guy you are, but they have a great API to pull data out of. Me and TK are both very big spreadsheet guys, and so we can straight into our spreadsheets, and we can do a lot with it.
Yeah, so I've just started getting into that. So I'm actually having a guy come on this weekend, and he's got this app called League History, and it basically just compiles or scrapes all the data from the web interface and gives you like an archive, this very detailed archive of your league history, statistics, your win-loss record, rivalries, draft grades. Is that kind of what you and TK are doing with the crossover league?
Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably the exact same data base that we're pulling from. And I think I even know who you're talking about. I think I've checked out that site.
Joey LF, I think that's
yeah,
is that
sounds familiar.
Yeah, so I've seen a couple apps like this on or promoted on Reddit. League History is one of them. League Legacy is another. And yeah, I mean, that interface that y'all have on the crossover league, I mean, that's super impressive. I think that's, I don't know how, yeah, I got to give y'all kudos for putting that together. And
Yeah,
I can
that's
see why Sleeper is very helpful for that.
that's the world of vibe coding coming in with
Yeah.
AI, because
Yep.
I mean, we ran it in a spreadsheet for 5-6 years, and this off season I'm trying to essentially vibe code a website, and I'm pulling in that data from Sleeper, and it's actually a lot easier than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
So it's been fun.
Gotcha. Are you much of a programmer or a software developer, if you don't mind me asking?
I come from a technical background. I graduated in statistics from
Gotcha.
BYU, so I took some programming classes. I don't really code or anything for my career, but vibe coding makes it easy because you just prompt and then the AI obviously writes the code. But I'm technical enough to be able to make adjustments and
Understood.
and work with APIs, and I've always been a spreadsheet guy because I'm nuts about fantasy, obviously.
Yeah.
Uh, so I you know do lots of formulas and rankings and whatever in my spreadsheets. So
I understood. So yeah, just for your personal context. Just for context, yeah, I do a lot of research. So I'm a scientist, and so yeah, we
heck
do a lot of pro. I don't well, it. I do a lot of data analysis. I won't say programming, but some of that data analysis requires
yeah,
having to have some knowledge. So I've used a
oh for sure.
little bit of R software
Oh yeah,
to
R was my big coding language in a statistics program. So
oh, cool. Yeah. Cause I learned that in grad school, like it was a biostatistics class where I first learned R. I kind of put my hands off of it, like after, like in the early part of my career, but the last 2-3 years I've gone back into it, and I actually use it more for fantasy football than I do work.
yeah, yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
That's how I ended up too.
So no, that's awesome. Yeah. And explain the crossover league schedule. I think even for me as a first time owner of a team, just explain how that works as far as going the non-conference to the conference within your 12-team pod league,
Yeah,
and then yeah, and then how do you coincide it with the NFL fantasy league schedule? Walk me through that.
yeah. So it is kind of a lot, and I feel like it's almost changed year to year just because we've added a conference here, added a conference there.
Okay.
But for the most part, what we try to keep consistent is there's 12 teams in a league. So if we can get 11 conference games, that'll give us, a clear regular season winner, or at least the
Mhm.
top
Right.
two teams that can go to the conference championship. So I think for most of the time, we've done weeks 1 to 11 is your conference play. Your matchup in Sleeper is your game.
Okay.
And then 12, 13, 14, there's obviously still bye weeks. And so we use those for out of conference matchups, which are really just tracked in the spreadsheet. I think we've tried to do like schedule your own games. I think it usually ends up coming down to just almost a randomizer, or at least some sort of formula to do a rotating matchup uh, against essentially a random team in another conference.
I see.
So that's our regular season, weeks 1 to 14, which now only leaves us with 3 weeks to essentially determine one winner out of 72 teams, or this coming season, 144 teams. Which I think we're still trying to figure out how it's going to work this year. How it worked last year is in week 15, we would call that our conference championships, but we would also use that week as well to be the first round of the college football playoff.
Okay.
So we'd have essentially 6 conferences. By the end of week 14, we've got the top 12 teams, basically the
Gotcha.
top 2 teams from each conference. Those teams all played. And then you got one team from each conference moving on to week 16. So that's 6 teams left. You got, I think we would do, the Orange Bowl, the Peach Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, 3 games. So then you end up with 3 teams left for week 17. And at that point, we would just say, all right, all three of you teams are playing each other. The highest score wins.
Oh, like a round robin?
No, just it's just a
Oh, I
3-team game.
see. Yeah, I gotcha.
So it's obviously weird and not ideal, but it's the only way we can do it because we don't want to put conference championships in week 14 when there's still bye weeks because that can make it unfair.
Yeah, with the
Although I say that, but I think this coming year we might end up doing that.
yeah, so like that top three kind of reminds me of the BCS from way back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
But but yeah, this year I noticed, yeah, I think there are additional conferences, so I'm kind of
Yeah,
curious to see
so
how that's gonna be worked out.
yeah, I think this year we'll end up doing conference championships week 14, but we won't necessarily say the winner is gonna make the CFP. We might do it for the P6, but I think we're gonna
Sure.
go to a true CFP model where for week 15 we're gonna take the 5 or 6 conference winners from the P6, and then we'll have 6 at large spots. So if you're a G6 team and you're ranked high enough, you'll make it in.
Okay. I forget what the rule is in real college football. Is it like you got to finish in the top 25 or something? Or if you're,
So
I
I
forget
think
how
the
that
rule
exactly works.
I think the rule is you take your 5 auto bids, or is it 4? It's only 4
I
now.
think, oh yeah, four now. Yeah.
Your 4 auto bids, and then you've got your highest ranked G5 team. I don't even think they necessarily have to be ranked. It's just yeah.
It doesn't matter whether they're in the top 25 or not, but it's just the
Yeah,
highest
I think
one.
there always ends up being someone in the top 25. And
Yeah.
then the other 7 spots are just at large. And there's a
I
committee that picks it, and it's super unfair. And BYU got kicked out last year when they shouldn't have. So we'll try to make it a little more fair in our league.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like y'all should almost have a committee. Like who actually decides it? Is it you and TK or is it
I
a series of commissioners that head their respective leagues within Sleeper, or how does that work?
TK typically likes to lean on formulas, and
Okay.
that way he can defend it. If that's how the formula is. If you're in, you're in. If you're out, you're out. In the basketball version of the same league, we do it like the real NCAA does, and we have a selection committee, and we literally have a build each team's resume,
Oh,
and
that's
we
okay.
include
That's
their
sweet.
Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4
Yeah,
losses,
I love that.
RPI, strength of schedule, and we literally have 6 or 7 guys form a selection committee, and we go through and seed everybody.
That's cool. Are there any? I mean, you all are commissioners for the most part, so you don't. I guess there's no worry of collusion or conflict of interest. But is there some sort of bylaw that protects that potential?
Um, I think because it's a free league, people probably worry about it less.
Of course.
And we obviously make those resumes public. Anyone can see them. So if we got some team that shouldn't be a 1 seed and they end up being a 1 seed, like we're going to get called out on that. I mean, we get called out regardless.
Yeah,
for
I mean,
some things,
with the
but
100 managers, over 100 managers, I'm sure it's bound to happen.
yeah, but I feel like we've found a pretty good group of owners that have been in this league for 7 years. We figure they all got some level of integrity. It's pretty easy to spot any guy in a fantasy league who might have some collusion, or we kick them out.
That's
You
good.
don't want to deal with the bad apples.
No. And so that gets me into my next question. So, how do y'all recruit? I think you probably already answered the question early on, but for a league that has over 100 teams, like where do you typically go to find them? And then I guess kind of like as a follow up to what you were saying before, the vetting process. I mean, I think personally, I hope to be a good one. I don't think I'll be involved in anything that will compromise the integrity of the league, and I'll do my full 100% best to pay attention. But yeah, what's the process like recruiting and vetting potential managers?
Yeah, well, I appreciate you coming in the league. I know for a fact that you're already going to be a good one because it's easy to tell. as much as I do love running these kinds of leagues, the single thing that I like the least about it is having to recruit new people. I'd much rather keep someone around than have to go find someone.
Oh
That
yeah,
being
kind of
said,
like with a job or something.
yeah, that being said, usually Reddit actually produces the best owners. Obviously, first,
Interesting.
we'd rather have existing owners bring in their friends if possible.
Okay.
Second is going to Reddit, because usually when you put a crazy idea on Reddit and make it seem fun, then you attract the guys that are diehards.
Yep.
Um, which is always, I mean, that's where most of the original owners came from, is Reddit.
Okay.
After that, it gets really dicey and it gets really tough to find new people. Our last resort is going to like the sleeper forums or whatever
Oh man,
and
I've
making a
seen
post
it.
in there. And that's where you get the guys that join, jump on a team, make 2 trades and leave,
Yeah.
or join and leave an hour later,
Yeah, especially
or
for a free
join and
league.
you never hear from them again.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue. And so yeah, I could see why it's a big issue trying, especially managing a public league with that many people, how it could be difficult to, find candidates. I think there's a website, I don't know if it was created by Scott Fish, who's like I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
if I'm getting, yeah, I think
I've
he's
heard of
like the
Scott.
fantasy football czar.
Yeah.
And I think it's like fantasy ballers or something like that, where you have to subscribe to this service, but you can recruit vetted players
Oh, interesting.
within that service. So
That
just
is good to
as a
know.
heads up, yeah, if I can find the link, I can send you that information if you and Tyson are interested.
Yeah.
But I think there is a subscription fantasy football network that you can find other players that are vetted and ready to go.
Yeah, that would be awesome. It is usually pretty easy to tell from the beginning whether they're going to be a good owner or not. Usually, if there's any level of excitement shown that, like, oh, I'm so excited to join this league, like it looks awesome, you pretty much know that they're going to be a good owner.
Yep.
It's the guys that say, oh yeah, I'm interested, and then you send them a link and you don't really hear from them. They're not too active, that usually end up being the duds. I will say that the good part about this is the good owners always stay. The bad
Right.
owners are the ones we end up kicking or leaving, and then even if we bring in 10 new owners and only 5 are good, that's still 5 new good owners that are going to stick around. So then the next year you're just adding more until hopefully the point where we get to 144 good owners.
Right. You kind of hit that, you hit that critical mass, and it's just a matter of maybe people leave for extenuating circumstances, or maybe for like they just, for whatever reason in life or something, they're not able to play. And so
Yeah.
so then in that case, you guys do a great job in managing the community culture. And what is that like to put in the energy that it takes to really invest in the league and keep people excited? And then are there any crazy stories from your experience, you and Tyson's experience, or anyone's experience commissioning this crossover league?
Yeah, I mean, it can be hard trying to keep the levels of excitement up. I mean, especially in the off season. I've gotten to the point where if nothing's going on, I basically tell people like, "Hey, feel free to check out for the next 3 months. We'll pick everything back up come, August." Or at least just be very clear with people like, "Hey, we're going to do an activity check. We're going to send DMs to everybody or send out polls and make sure everybody's still active." But I will say, coming up with new ideas or coming up with an additional, like a rivalry week, or hey, look at this cool website I built. Look at
Right.
this new metrics I did. Look, we got the league history going. Come check this out. Just doing little things like that to keep improving the league and get them coming back and seeing that there's more to the league. It's not just staying static and nothing's improving, but And I think it's fun for me and TK to just continue to build these things and continue to add upon it. It's been fun. So I think just being able to keep everyone in the loop with our updates and getting new ideas and asking for feedback, asking for rule changes that they want to see. I don't know, it keeps everyone engaged. And then I'll throw in that we've got our Discord, obviously, because Sleeper wouldn't be able to all be together. We do have a Discord for where all that discourse happens, and it really feels like a community, because if anything's going on in the NFL world or the NBA world or whatever, like that's the first place that some people go to start chatting about sports, is this community that we built.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would say the recaps that y'all have put together, even though I haven't played an official game yet in your league, they're just awesome. So I would just say keep that going, because those, like you said before, those little details matter. And I think as a commissioner of my home league, which is basically comprised of friends from college that I went to school with and friends that I've gotten to know, close friends that I've gotten to know in the DC area, like those little details and the extra communication and those things help. So like for last season, I felt like I was kind of hitting a lull, and I felt that I needed to come up with some way to get everyone excited. So I came up with an idea of, hey, after the season, whoever wins the championship, they get like a ring that they can use as bragging rights or something. And so we started that, and we've also had a promotion relegation system. So we have two. So 2 leagues. Yeah, we started it about 12 years ago, where it was a way to keep the stragglers and the slackers out the league and to keep everyone paying attention. So we have a top league, which is 12 teams, and then a bottom league, which is 6 to 8 teams, depending on people's availability. And basically the bottom 2 teams in our top league, after the playoffs, they get sent down while the top 2 teams get sent up. And basically those top 2 teams would inherit the rosters of those relegated teams and before the next season starts. So that's been kind of my way of keeping everyone engaged, I guess, out of fear. But I think this time around, I think in some ways even this podcast has been a way to increase engagement for my league members. I've had another member come on last week, and that was a lot of fun. And it's just kind of like my way of kind of giving to the community within our group to keep people engaged. Because, I'm kind of hitting the midlife, and now it's, life happens and you're all trying to keep each other engaged when stuff is always going on. So I definitely appreciate what you're doing what you and Tyson are doing as a commissioner, because it's a thankless job.
Absolutely. Really, that is true. And the leagues we run are free, so we're doing this totally free. But I mean, we're just fantasy nuts. We just
absolutely
love bringing people together and trying to win these leagues. And and you asked about some crazy stories about apples. We try really hard to be as impartial as we can. If there's any like sort of suspicious trade, we just reverse it right away.
Okay.
We just try to operate with common sense. And there's been times where we've had owners that, will get frustrated with something, and we totally welcome like feedback of why they think, we made a mistake or whatever. But when they start coming in, calling names, insulting people, they're obviously angry and irritated about something, and they won't give it up. They keep calling names. Like, we're not afraid to just kick them out and say, sorry, buddy, we don't want that. We don't want that here.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing about it is when we started, we were all much younger. I think we had a lot of early 20s, teenagers, that was just kind of the time of life. And now that we were going on 6-7 years, we're all kind of grown up a little bit. And we've retained a lot of those owners that, they're just more mature in life. They, I don't know. It seems that we've grown together as a community, and I don't know. It's been fun. It's been great being able to retain all the good fantasy guys out there, and we've really built a community. So
That's good. Like in our home league, like I said, they're made up of friends that I've known at UVA for over 20 years, and a lot of those guys stayed in the DC area, but then some guys moved abroad, especially after COVID, or moved to another part of the country after graduating, and so we're all kind of spread apart. And so literally the only time that we can reunite and reconnect, even with the alumni weekends that we have at our university, is literally through our fantasy football league. And so it's like our way of staying connected despite where we're located or the stage of life that you're in. It's literally the way to get people back together and just kind of talking up shop and just sharing good memories.
Absolutely. Especially if you do a live draft and you get together for those few hours and do a live draft, even if it's virtual, it's some of the best times.
Yeah, we gotta do that. The only problem is getting everybody on board, because like I said, we got people in Asia, we got people
that would make
in Europe, so the time difference makes it tricky, but that's something that I want to eventually put together, even if it's just a few of us. And I think for me, selfishly, I hate getting like I'm really into my spreadsheets and my tier sheets during the draft. I just wouldn't be able to focus and concentrate because I'm trying to figure out who I should pick from the board. So it's a little selfish too, but
yeah, no kidding. I'll leave my live drafts till right before the season when I've kind of memorized my rankings by that point. Because those slow drafts, I will make sure that analytically I'm picking the right guy.
Absolutely. Back here on the Commissioner's Corner of the DMV Fantasy Football Podcast, we have Cam here on this next segment, and the next couple questions are going to focus more so on the league, specifically the rosters and draft strategy. And so, Cam, so this is what I have to ask. So, how does the Superflex and Standard Flex dynamic potentially shape your draft boards within the Power and Group of 6 conference leagues? So from what my understanding, the Superflex is for the Power conferences, and then the standard roster setup is for the Group of 6. And just explain the roster differences and how that is built into your league or into the league.
Yeah, so we obviously started the league with just the E6 conferences, and so we did Superflex for that just because we thought it was the best format. And then when we added these G6 teams, we thought, how can we simulate the real college as much as we can? And we threw around a few different ideas of how we can kind of make the P6 team a little more powerful. We thought about, removing a roster spot completely, tweaking the scoring system. But we ultimately landed on same number of roster spots, but just turn that super flex back into a regular flex, which, for some teams for some of the top teams, if you've got two great quarterbacks, it can be a real advantage over standard team whose flex might be, a 12 fantasy point per game scorer, while you got quarterbacks that are scoring over 20. So when you're a G6 team, you really have to consider, I need to win every other position on my team more so than the other guy, because I know I'm going to lose in that flex versus super flex spot. So I think what we noticed in a lot of the startup drafts were teams were targeting tight ends a lot earlier, because you're not going to – if you can get a 5-point advantage in your TE slot, that's going to help a ton. We saw quarterbacks targeted earlier because a Josh Allen is going to give you a leg up over a Jalen Hurts on a super flex team, just to kind of make up for that difference in the flex spot. So, we saw a lot of strategy like that. We saw a lot more teams trying to go win now. The disparity between teams that are going for a win now and teams that are going for a rebuild was really apparent from the get-go. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely led to some different strategies, but TK put together his ranking formula for sort of our preseason rankings, and I think five or six G6 teams slid into the top 25.
Oh wow!
Based
Did
on
any
this
from the AAC? Did any from the AAC rank in the top 25? Because I got Charlotte, and I got to make sure I'm on my game when I'm
That's a good
playing
question.
some of those teams.
I think there was one or two. I
Okay,
think there's one from each conference, but I can't remember for sure.
that's all good. I mean, it's 140 teams, so it's a bit much to expect that. So, did you look into having a premium tight end position built into
I
those
think we
power
thought about that
conferences?
too. We ultimately did it. Well, I'm trying to remember if we had a T premium from the get-go with the Superflex, but I don't think we did T premium for either. I think we ultimately decided that we wanted the scoring system to be consistent across both teams, just because when we're looking at fantasy points per player, we can synchronize it a lot more across the entire league.
Okay.
And for us stat-minded guys that want as clean of possible data, that's where our heads went.
Gotcha. Okay. And so in your years running the league, how realistic is it for a group of 6 team to actually win it all? Because like in the real college football, I mean, we clearly saw what happened to James Madison in the playoffs. This past year. I mean, they had only lost one game, if I'm not mistaken, and they got, at least in the first half, they got the mess beat out of them against Oregon. And, we, at least a lot of teams stopped JMU would be, really, it could be a team that maybe could shock Oregon or something. But what do you see for some of these quote unquote smaller schools to make a deep run in this crossover league?
Well, I appreciate you using JMU as the example and not Boise State.
I did see that. Yeah, I had that in my notes, but yeah, I want to be cognizant as you as you're a
That might
fan of
turn into an argument. But so we just did the startups for these G6. So our hope is that we get a few ranked G6 teams by the end of the year. We would really like for it to feel as realistic as possible and see those matchups actually happen, because as well as I do that anything can happen in a fantasy football week. And especially in the last 3 weeks of the season, you could have a guy that's been scoring 20 fantasy points a week all year, and then they have a dud in the first round. And if that G6 team has a stud lineup that week, then they can advance. So really, it was about giving these G6 teams an opportunity to get ranked and having at least one auto bid there, so that we could have some fun in the postseason and hopefully see some upsets.
Preach. So in my home league, I went like 13-2. Went through the league like butter. Like the only 2 losses I had were like by a couple points and 10 points. I get a bye, win my second round game by 30. I was up 50 in the championship game, but my opponent had Bijan Robinson and Brock Purdy that Sunday. I had
that was that 50-point game for Bijan or whatever.
Yeah. So Bijan had 40, Purdy had 30. I had Puka Nacua and Stafford left. Both Stafford threw 3 picks or something in the Monday night game, and I basically end up losing by 0.6 for the championship. Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah, it was brutal. I mean, I think I could have won if Nacua had. There's like the Rams are driving to try to win against Atlanta, and Stafford made a crazy throw to Nacua which made an unbelievable catch on a sideline, but they overturned it, which basically was the difference in me winning the championship and or not. And so clearly I still have PTSD from it. And I think that actually inspired me to start this podcast, because I was so salty that I just I got to channel this negative energy into something positive. So why not start a podcast and think of ways I can improve my team next season? So that's kind of like my my story there. But going back into the league, actually, I think in the non-conference, I'm playing against Georgia, so I guess I'll get a good taste of what that group of 6 versus power conference matchup would be about with the Superflex versus standard setup.
That
So,
is true. And the nice part for being an owner of a G6 team is that, you know, you don't have to have super high expectations, and every win that you do get over a P6 team or whatever, it feels great. And if you lose, it's like, well, we're a standard league. It's for Superflex. Of course we're going to lose. So it's nice to not have so much pressure to win, I guess.
right.
By the way, Puka, another BYU guy.
Oh yeah, feels a 5th round pick too. He's definitely doing his thing on the field.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I won't talk too much about his exploits off the field, but on the field, he's as good of a receiver. I mean, that in terms of contested catches, I mean, he's just outstanding, and has underrated speed too.
And it's a great fantasy football type of game that he's got. So,
oh yeah, he's perfect. And so the next question I had is, you mentioned that Tyson has set up this league to be free. Is there any interest in turning this into a paid league? Just curious to get your thoughts on that.
We've thought of, well, I've thought of it. I think TK's always been, it should be free for sure. The hard part about making it a paid league is it would make it much harder to recruit owners. Trying to collect payments from over 100 people sounds awful. I mean, because if you think of one league where you get 1 or 2 guys that don't pay, multiply that by 12, and you're trying to chase down payments, and then you're trying to boot guys, and then you're right back to where part I dislike the most, where you're trying to find new guys. And
yeah,
it runs better as a free league, and I think people are more willing to try new innovative leagues if there's no money at risk.
Gotcha. So what do you use, a sleeper app to administer payment collection or dues collection? And then what do you do if a couple people don't pay? Like, how's that difference made up, or is the pot just shrunk to make up for the lost managers?
So we don't actually collect payments from anyone. It's totally free. So.
Oh, right. I guess if that, okay, gotcha. I guess hypothetically,
if we were,
yeah.
I guess my idea that I did have at one point was like, we could just take $5 from whoever wants to pay, and then just use that pot, and whoever has paid is eligible to win something.
Okay, that's reasonable.
But yeah, that idea has never really gained too much traction. Maybe down the road.
Okay. And then lastly, you mentioned you've talked about your NBA, NCAA crossover league, which I'm a part of, but tell me about some of the other fantasy sport leagues that you and your crew are running down on, through Sleeper and Discord. Like, if you want to explain it to everybody.
Yeah. So TK's actually got his own Discord server that's called TK's Side Leagues, where we've come up with some fun ideas. The latest of which we call the National Collegiate Football League, where we try to treat it even more like a college team, and the player pool is only the NFL players in their first 4 years of the league.
Okay.
And then after that, they graduate. And so your player pool is a lot smaller. It's only an 8-team league. And then every year, your seniors graduate, and then you got your rookies or your freshmen come in, and you draft from the freshmen, and we got a transfer portal. And
wow.
That's been fun. We've only done 1 year of that, and this is our first off season, but we just like coming up with fun ideas like that, and try to see what sticks, I guess.
Yeah. How's it compared to a Devy league, and is it even a Devy league? Just because I'm just new learning some of the existing leagues out there. How's that compare to that type of league?
Yeah, unfortunately, not a Devy league. I've heard about Devy leagues. I've never actually played in one. I don't think I follow college football nearly enough to get involved with any sort of college fantasy football. Um, so yeah, we just like to theme it like college, but we strictly just stick with the NFL guys.
Gotcha. And so now this last part of the show, we're gonna go to 3 rapid fire questions. I don't know if you've saw that in notes, but
I did,
I
yeah.
did think it's pretty. Yeah, well, it's actually two rapid fire questions, but it's
Okay.
relevant to the college football landscape. So first one, it's going to be a two-part question. So first off, should Brandon Sorsby play fantasy football during his year off?
Fantasy football?
Yeah.
Oh man. It seems like something he would do. Some money leagues probably.
Yeah, I would think so. And then, where do you see him going after this year sabbatical? You think he's gonna? I guess he has no choice but to go to the NFL. Like can't imagine him going back to college, right?
Yeah, I think the thing with Sorsby is he's got. I mean, it would be good for him to take the year off. He needs to get to the point where he actually understands what he did was wrong. I mean, I think the whole thing with
Yeah.
gambling or whatever, it's like you got caught, dude. You got to make sure you knew what you were doing was wrong. And instead, he turns around and tries to sue his future employer, and I don't know. It's kind of a bad taste. I think if he takes the year off, shows that he's preparing for the NFL. He wants this job. I think he's just got to prove it a lot more than some of the other guys that are NFL hopefuls.
Yeah, I mean, he's a pretty talented player. I mean, I looked at some of his numbers and they look okay, but the fact that you have a gambling scandal hanging over your head like that, I think it's gonna take.
Yeah.
He's just gonna be off the draft boards for a lot of different teams, and the fact that he doubled down on it, and like you said, he sued. He tried to sue to, get it to kind of get him back into playing. I think just shows kind of a lack of awareness, and he's a young guy, so hopefully he'll learn from it and try to have some kind of career.
And as a BYU fan and who Sorsby single-handedly kept out of the college football playoff, if he doesn't play again, so what?
Yeah, right. All right. So, I know you don't follow college football, so if you're not able to answer, I'll transition into a BYU question. But what's your preseason college football top 5?
Oh man, it's probably gonna be the typical guys that are above there. I mean, I've always enjoyed watching Oregon play. I don't know if it's their jerseys or what, but I'm sure Oregon's going to be up there.
I can see that.
My brother-in-law is a big Texas fan, so I'll throw Texas in there. I have to throw BYU in.
Okay, they can certainly win the Big 12.
They've put together a good roster, and I don't know if you know their running back LJ Martin, but he's
no.
He should be a top 5, maybe top 3 back in the league this year.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm sure
you got to throw Ohio State in there.
Probably got to throw Ohio State in there. Who won last year? Michigan? No, Indiana.
No, Indiana. I don't know
Let's
about
throw
Indiana
back in there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, their coach is something. He basically is another Nick Saban. So even if they lost Mendoza and some of those receivers, Indiana could definitely be a power again this year.
I will just say preseason rankings nowadays with the transfer portal, it's almost impossible to predict who's actually going to be in the top 5 at the end of the season. So it's all just a guessing game right now anyway.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. So lastly, if you want, you can provide your socials, Discord server, or outlets, or places where people can reach you and the leagues that you commission and look over. And the floor is yours.
Let's see. I think the only 2 I'll plug is my Twitter is, I guess it's X now, is at Big Sweezy. Sweezy spelled with 2 E's, 2 Z's. And then you can find all of my NBA stuff on probably my Reddit, which is the Courtside Analyst.
Oh,
is my Reddit username. So You can find my post there. I'm sure you can find your way to the Discord from there, and we can get you hooked up if you're interested in any of those leagues.
Oh, you said the course site analyst. Okay, yeah. I mean, I've got some friends that are big NBA guys
Yeah.
that I work with in my fantasy league here in the DMV. So yeah, I'll shoot some of that their way as well. And
yeah, I know you're a fantasy football guy, but for me, I typically tell people fantasy football is just the way to get through the fall until the NBA starts up. So
oh, really? So you're a bigger NBA fantasy NBA
I am
fantasy
basketball
guy.
first, but I love them both. I love my fantasy sports.
See, for me, I feel like basketball came to me a little bit more recently. My only thing with basketball is that I feel like you got to keep up with it every day, like literally with pickups.
You got to try it on Sleeper because
Okay.
Sleeper's basketball format is you pick one game for the week.
Yeah. You know what? I have been in one Sleeper. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have to check that out.
Anyways, I appreciate you letting me come on. This was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, thanks again, Cam, aka Big Sweezy, coming on the Commissioner's Corner of the DMV Fantasy Football Podcast. And yeah, really, we'll connect with you soon on the Discord and in TK's league. And yeah, really, like I said, thank you so much for joining the show.
Yeah, no problem. I'll hit you up if I'm ever out on the East Coast.
All right, sure thing, man.
Yo, check it.
Please subscribe to my Substack newsletter, my YouTube page, and wherever else you get your podcasts on your streaming services at DMV Commish. Thank you all for joining the show, and see you all next time on the Commissioner's Corner of the DMV Fantasy Football Podcast.
Yo, check it.